When I had a gallery downtown LA, I was friends with my neighbor there, Andy Salas, who's the son of the chief.
So I met Alex Man 1 when he came into Los Angeles in about 2006 in downtown LA. He was very involved in the history and the culture. He met my father.
And back then I asked if I could do a photo shoot with him.
See if one day we could do a mural, put a mural up.
So for all these years I've been trying to do a portrait mural of the chief, and it just never happened.
My dad would always say this: when they do murals and statues of individuals, they always do them when they passed on. Why not do them when we're alive so we could see them?
Public art sometimes takes a long time to happen. It's a process. And at any moment, the process can just completely fall apart.
My belief that this mural was purposeful. It was meant to be here, to bring the community together, which is exactly what my uncle, his intentions were, and what our tribe's intentions are.
You know, my dad passed away 3 years ago now, and Alex, he called me and he said, you know what, I'm still gonna get that place and I'm gonna put that mural up like I promised your dad.
Finally, this opportunity happened here in the city of El Monte. 3.5 years later, we were able to do it, and I was awarded the project.
And I couldn't even believe it when Alex reached out to me. He said, hey, Andy, I finally got the location where I'm gonna put up the mural. They okayed it. And I go, no, man, I couldn't believe it.
So this is a mural that I was awarded by the City of El Monte. They were looking for an artist to create something that could honor the Kizh Nation.
All this community here was part of the village of our ancestors, of my father descends from, the village of Ciba, La Misión Vieja.
So when we started negotiating the deal, it was a little bit more complicated than normal. There was 3 entities involved in this contract. It was myself, the City of El Monte, and then also AT&T, because they own the building.
This is a very prominent painting here of my father representing the tribe.
This is the tallest mural that I've created to date. So in all the years of painting, I've never had to paint something this high. I think it's 82 feet tall.
Man, it's huge, you know? And I asked him earlier, how do you like getting up there on the top way up there, man? I would be shaking going up that high.
I can't do well with heights, so I could only imagine going 80 feet high. It was intimidating seeing the wall at first, but going higher and higher, you just gotta adjust, take your mind off of it, and painting does that. You don't think about how high you are when you're painting.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things about going this high is we were going from the bottom up, and some of the challenges is that there's wires, power lines right in front of the mural, like running, you know, like 20, 25 feet away from the wall at a weird angle. So we couldn't go straight up. We had to go from an angle and shoot the boom and extend it. So any little movement would sway, and it's definitely something that you have to like get used to every day, you know?
I've been up there. I've been on power poles that are 67 to 80 feet high. So I know height. I worked the power lines for water power. You know, that thing is moving and moving, but you get used to it after a while. You know, you're up there.
My assistant, Joel, was with me every day painting up there. So me and him would go up and sit for hours on the lift.
Going up there, you're working on, hyper-focused. You want to knock it out as fast as possible just to get it done.
When I saw this size, I thought it wasn't this big. When I came up valley, off the freeway, I go, is that the mural? And as I got closer, I was like, wow, man, it is the mural. You can't miss it. And you can see the mural from that far. It's amazing, the size of it.
I didn't expect this. I thought when I said mural was going to be just part of a small wall or something. And it's fascinating. It's beautiful. Very much looks like my dad. Our eyes, we have his eyes, you know, and the hair, this part of it right here in front looks just exactly like him.
Look at it already. It looks like my father's here, still with us. He's not here physically, but spiritually, I feel that he's here, man.
He's looking all over the whole city of LA. You can probably see LA from there, you know? It's a very honor. The recognition is the most important thing, to be recognized of who we are. We've been here for many, many years, and the recognition is coming out little bit at a time. It's coming out.
You know, there was an individual that came up and he asked, hey, what is that? You know, what's that mural of? And they said, of the indigenous people that were here. He goes, see, that's what they don't teach us here in our schools. They don't educate us about the indigenous people here, because they don't. But I think with murals like this, will give this next generation a better understanding of where they're at.
Doing research about the Kizh Nation and about the area, I ran across a lot of these images, different plant life and animal life, and how they were petroglyphs, right?
My uncle would tell us about our origin story of how we need to engage with our plants and animals. So the symbols that are going to be portrayed on this mural are going to identify the native component, that we are to represent them so they can now have a place in our environment, in our landscape. To support us is what they're doing in the background on this mural.
For example, the eagle, which stands for the sun, something that soars very high, highly respected. Plant life also is looked at in their tradition as ancestors. That's what provides healing and medicine.
Plants and animals were actually placed on this earth prior to humans. So therefore, something that's placed before you is older than you, and it's your elder. And your elders are meant to teach you, for you to learn from. And all that is through the relationship with the Creator, which is what our chief instilled in us.
So that's why I decided to put those kinds of images in the backdrop, because I wanted to just talk about the history and the traditions that they have.
That's been a lack in our communities, the lack of history, acknowledgement of where you're at today. It's been lost. And I think a painting like this, it brings it out. It gives us that knowledge to everybody, not just the generations that are coming behind us, but the generations of today. The eyes, man, look at the eyes. Looks like they're looking right over there, like I said earlier, to the village that we descend from, which was La Misión Vieja, Whittier Narrows, but it looks towards the west. And my dad always, in all his prayers, it was the west, that at the end of days, that's where we would settle, in the west.
That's where the sun is coming from, that's where the light is emanating from, that's where the clouds are, and that's why the chief is looking up, he's looking west. The chief always used to speak about that we're all gonna set on the west, and that when it's all over, we all end up in the same place, on the west.
It's unbelievable that my dad's getting put on a mural. He's always prayed looking to the sun, and that's what he's doing in that picture, he's looking up at the sun, but it's great.
Finally, this painting, it gives recognition. You don't see murals like this anywhere, recognizing indigenous people. A lot of times, we feel like refugees in our own homelands. Nobody talks about us.
He always wanted recognition, just within the people themselves, just to let them know that we're here. There's a lot of us Indians still here.
So to me, that means a lot, because when I see the kids of the person that I'm painting get emotional with the image, I captured what I needed to capture. It tells me that I did something right.
And today, right here, we honor my father. Not only was he a great leader and a community member, he did everything for his communities to protect and preserve the history, the legacy of our ancestors. But again, I want to thank Alex for keeping his promise. This is honorable to all of us.
I had promised him that I was going to do a mural of his father at some point. And so I'm really glad that I was able to come through with my word and make it happen. And I know that he got emotional when he first saw it up on the wall.
But I know my dad sees this mural. I feel it, because when I talk about it, I get emotional. And I know that emotion is connected to my father.
And Alex, I want to give a big hand to you. Thank you. Señor Puli, thank you.
The Kizh Spirit in the sky. Let's give him a big hand.
My name is Man One. I'm the artist here in the City of El Monte that just created this mural. It's called Kizh Spirit in the Sky, and it's a mural based on Chief Ernest Salas, who was a spiritual leader of the Kizh Nation.
Let us pray to the four directions: the east, the south, the west, norte. The east represents the light of wisdom, illumination, freshness, peace, and understanding. From the south comes the power of life, brutality, growth, and warmth.